And so COVID-19 has incredibly fucked up 2020.
Yeah.
And for me, one of the most disappointing ways that COVID-19 has fucked up 2020 was the Summer Olympics, man. I mean, I'm so down and I'm so into the Olympics, both winter, both summer. Like, I love it. I love the tradition, the history. Going back to your history.
I'm sorry, man. I butchered this whole show.
I love the tradition. I just love giving you shit. I love the tradition of the Olympics. I love the prestige that it has because it only comes every 4 years. I love all of that. I mean, it's like I don't typically watch swimming very often, but like I will tune in every 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just interesting, and the Olympics brings some very, very unique sporting events, to the public eye that aren't highlighted very often, which I think are very cool. And it gives the common athlete, I feel like, motivation to continue to play a wide variety of sports and realize that, I could do, maybe I'm not going to be a football, basketball, or baseball player, these mainstream, like, professional leagues, but there are so many different avenues that you could be a professional athlete and do something cool in.
Yeah.
And I think that it gives so many different people from so many different countries a platform,
Yeah, and it also gives it's so much more valuable and special because it's not a yearly thing like the Super Bowl or World Series. It comes around once every 4 years for that
Steak
season or whatever. So like, the Winter Olympics every 4 years. We have Olympics every 2 years, but for those specific sports, it's every 4 years.
Right.
So it just makes it so much more valuable because you can only do it so many times competitively, especially more so towards the summer with the gymnastics and stuff. So like you really only got 2 if you're lucky, maybe 3 in you before you're replaced by the new young guns. So it just makes it, and I agree with you. I love the Olympics. My family, they are, even my kids, dude, they're all about the Olympics. Like it's very special.
It's just like a great like month or 3 weeks, whatever it is. It's just like you're tuning in every day. There's always something to watch every night. Like you want to check it out.
Like, at all times too.
Yeah,
usually because it's on the other side of the world or something.
Well, and it's like, in here, it's like, USA. And at a time where we really need people to like be united by something, it's like it would give, it's like we all root for different sports teams throughout the country because our league is spread out that way or across our nation.
Yeah.
But like the Olympics is our country against the rest of the world, and it's something that unites us. And at a time where we really could use something like that, it would have been really cool to like have something to cheer for. And like we could have brought this Black Lives Matter movement with us and really, really put it on that stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But hopefully, we can continue to do that next year. But I mean, going back, I'm much more disappointed about the Olympics this year, not just because I'm missing the Olympics, but this was going to be the inaugural year for skateboarding, man.
Yeah, I know. Big deal for you.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the prestige of every 4 years, I mean, I love action sports and I love the X Games and whatnot, but over the years, I kind of feel like, I don't tune in as much to the X Games as much as I have in the past because it's become a little bit more diluted because they do it every year. And then they've started to do an X Games tour now where it's like, we're in this country this month, and then 3 months later we're in a different country. So it's like they make 4 stops on this tour of X Games every year where it's like it started in San Francisco and it was just like, this is X Games, one big party a year. That's it. And then the Winter X Games started where I was like, okay, we could do the winter too. I get it. It's like summer Olympics, Winter Olympics. That's cool. But now we're doing like, summer X Games here, summer X Games. Okay, so who won the gold medal on this?
Yeah,
but he won it here, but he won it here. So it's like, so who's the champion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember back in the day, man, when the X Games first started showing up, it was a big deal. It would consume
Yeah.
all the sports networks, the local news networks would talk on it a little bit. It was a big deal, but yeah, definitely. I've lost interest over the last years with it being. It's like I believe you would know this, but isn't it like called like the X Tour or something now or something? They have some kind of X Games
Oh,
tour
the
thing
World
too.
of X Games.
Okay, yeah, but it's where it's multiple locations and it really has diluted it to the point where
Yeah.
it's not as special as it once was.
Yeah. I mean, San
And
Francisco
that's
was
where
awesome. I
yeah,
remember going to my first one when I was like 14, man, and then we went out to like Treasure Island, and they had
yeah.
like the wakeboard competition out there on Treasure Island. It was
Yeah, I
awesome.
remember, man, San Francisco would be so alive during X Games, man. Just good
I mean,
times, dude. Good vibes and everything too. Like you had your
it
troublemakers,
was
which
like that. We had like 2 vert ramps out there on like one of the
yeah,
piers, and like there
yep,
wasn't a whole lot, you know.
yeah. But
So
it brought the crowd, man. It brought the crowds big time.
yeah,
It was
it was
fun.
fun.
Yeah, that's a bummer because that's a big step. It's a well deserved step. Again, something we've talked a little bit offline, but like snowboarding's been in the Olympics for years, and
Yeah,
skateboarding is what snowboarding came from. So
exactly. Yeah,
it's overdue, if anything.
yeah,
Um, no, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's gonna happen. It's just gonna be 2021. But it doesn't. It still stings, especially for some. I can see how it stings for someone like you. That is where gaming is my passion. Skateboard is your passion, and this is a monumental step in skateboarding.
yeah.
That's you kind of
Absolutely.
get that feeling. I'm sure of it just being like kind of ripped away from you temporarily, but
Well,
still, it sucks.
I mean, the one more thing to think about here is that like, so there's an Olympic team, but then you still have to qualify for the Olympic event, and they hadn't gone through all the qualifying events yet. So Team USA skateboarding has its team, but that still is dependent upon does everyone on their team meet or sort of fulfill the qualifications. You know what I mean? Like whenever you go into an Olympic sport, there's always like for a track athlete, there's world championships going up to it. There's Olympic qualifiers.
Yeah,
That means like now you're an Olympic athlete. Like
yeah,
just because it's not like the World Cup or some of these other things where we just decide to enter a team into the tournament.
yeah,
Like no, it doesn't work that way. Like you enter your team into the tournament that pre-qualifies you for the Olympics.
yeah,
And so what that means is that because a lot of those events still haven't taken place, yeah, we're doing this over another year, that even our team can change.
yeah. And
Even our
that's
team can change.
huge. And not just with skateboard, but across the board. And then you have to take into account here's another year where injuries can happen
Yeah.
and pull people. And yeah, it's definitely
Well, and people should know that something about skaters too. It's like you might be a track athlete or you might be a swimming athlete, and the way you train is very healthy for your body. It's very good. It's
yeah,
very you're not risking injury
yeah,
when you're training. Skateboarders like I follow these guys to name some of these guys on the team like one of my favorites, Nigel Houston, is just like a killer skateboarder. You might have remembered
yeah.
him from way back in the day with the
Oh yeah.
long dreads and stuff. Like
Oh yeah.
he's been a pro since he was like 10 years old. He's like, I mean, you'd think he's like 40 now because he's been around so long, but he's only like 26 or
Yeah.
something like that, you know? And he's got like the most like medals of all X Games
Yeah.
or whatever. But anyway, it's like these are guys that are out in the streets every day trying to find the
Yeah.
biggest handrail and staircase that they can. They're still putting their body on the line, like even like they're doing it now, even thinking that there was a 2020 Olympics. So it's like
Yeah.
they're just gonna keep doing it for another year.
Yeah.
You know?
And to touch on that, it's very rare in extreme sports as a whole, not just directed right at skateboarding, that you get that first time big trick landed in a competition. Like these are things that they're practicing nonstop. The 900 was a very unique thing where Tony Hawk had tried it and I don't think he landed it beforehand. Maybe he did, but and then we saw the multiple attempts in that X Games when he finally did land it. That was a one-off where majority of the time these guys are trying to get these tricks dialed in before they do it in a competition.
Yeah.
And that's like, so it's like all offline, all off
Right.
camera. They're just beating the hell out of themselves trying to get
Well,
this
when
trick
Tony
down.
did that, it was like social media didn't even exist,
Yeah.
so it's like you couldn't even see it beforehand,
Yeah.
and you know, going back to that, like that was for the crowd. Like he'd already tried to do it in competition and
Yeah.
didn't work out. And
Yeah.
it was like after competition had concluded, they just kept the tapes rolling, and he just kept hammering it and hammering it and hammering it until he got it. And
Yeah. It
that
was like 10 attempts or something.
that was just the coolest part, is because it like it wasn't even about the competition
Nope.
at that point. It was
about
just
the
about
sport.
like, oh my God, like, we're gonna see something amazing
Yeah.
right now. And like Tony is pushing the envelope, and
Yeah.
we are here to witness this. And they were broadcasting it live on TV, which was amazing.
Yep.
You know?
That's
It was
just
so cool.
like Pastrana with the double backflip.
Yeah.
Or who landed the first backflip? Son of a bitch. Oh, I can't think of his name.
Deegan?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
What like those moments? Yeah, those moments are what awakens.
Those are the foundation of the sport, because then more and more tricks were built off of that. Like so I'm glad you mentioned the 900, because there's this kid, Tom Shar, who is going he's on the format for the Olympics is much different, not much different, but so in the X Games you have street, park, vert, and big air, and all these other different elements of skateboarding. Well, in the Olympics, I'm hoping it's just because it's the inaugural time that there's only street and park. There's no like mega ramp, there's no big air, there's none of that stuff. It's just street and park. There's no vert ramp, you know, back and forth. It's just big air. So this dude Tom Shar, dude, he did a 1080, I think, when he was like 12 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he won. He's the youngest person to win a gold in X Games at 12 years old. You know, and so it's like and he's just to give you perspective, he's 20 now going to the Olympics. So it's like, I mean, you're in for a show, and you're in for some of the most entertaining content you can watch. You know?
That's awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be cool to see skateboarding in the Olympics, dude. I'm pumped for it, and I haven't been really involved with skateboarding or extreme sports for a few years, but it's gonna be so dope, man. And it's a bummer that it's pushed off, but it's still exciting knowing that it's coming.
Yeah.
And
hopefully they expand on it, like, you know, the second time it's in there, maybe it's more than just Park and Street, you know what I mean? Maybe it's a couple other events.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Yeah.